All right. This is the scheduled meeting for the advisory committee for City of Salem's ADA transition plan. And let's get this meeting underway. What we'll talk about today, it will be largely a presentation by staff to kind of describe the efforts that we are going to be undertaking in order to address the ongoing problem of ADA compliant curb ramps and audible PED signals throughout the city. So we will be talking about, we'll have a welcome and introductions. We'll talk about the purposes of the transition plan. We'll talk about previous ADA related efforts in Salem, as well as the advisory committee's role, outreach and guidance. We'll talk about our future schedule, and then we'll have a section to talk about feedback and discussions for those who have questions and comments they would like to make. So to kick things off with introductions, my name is Trevor Smith. I am the Public Information Officer for the City of Salem, and I am assigned to the Public Works Department. And I'm going to throw it to Anthony Gamayo, and he can introduce himself.
Hi, my name is Anthony Gamayo. I'm with the City of Salem Public Works. I'm a senior transportation planner.
And how about we throw it to Rick Barnes?
Morning, or afternoon. My name is Rick Barnes. I'm one of the assistant city engineers at the City of Salem. And my group deals with all of the transportation related projects.
And let's give it to Gretchen Bennett.
Hi, everybody. My name is Gretchen Bennett. I'm on the staff team at the mayor and city manager's office here. And part of my portfolio is to serve as our ADA coordinator.
And let's introduce some of our committee members. Tim Rochak, would you mind introducing yourself?
Hi, I'm Tim Rochak. I'm the CEO at Garten Services.
And Ben Sawyer.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ben Sawyer. I am the Contracted Services Manager and ADA Coordinator for Chariot here in Salem.
Kevin Aaronshaft.
Hi, my name is Kevin Aaronshaft. I'm a rehab instructor for the Oregon Commission for the Blind.
And Krista Gallagher.
Hello, I'm Krista Gallagher, and I work for the state of Oregon in Deaf and Hard of Hearing Services. I'm a deaf specialist. I also am the vice chair of the Human Rights Commission with Gretchen.
Thank you all for being here. All right. So with that, I would like to toss it back to Anthony to talk about the purposes of this transition plan.
Thank you. So yeah, again, my name is Anthony Gamayo with the City of Salem. We've been working on this effort since last year. ODOT approached the city about putting this this ADA transition plan together. And the way they formatted it, it's sort of the requirements that come down from ADA. We call them planks, so 7 points that are required as part of the plan. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and kind of talk through each point. Give me one moment. Okay. So these are the 7 right here. It's important to note that many of these we're already doing and have been doing. And we're in the process, as part of this, putting this plan together, sort of re-examining the things that we're already doing and the other aspects that we're sort of kicking off. We want to sort of meld that all together into a cohesive plan as part of this process. I'll start first with the goal statement for the plan, and it's real simple. The Title II transition plan for the public rights of way aims to improve accessibility for all individuals within the city's public rights of way. It's important to note that this plan does cover just the rights of way that the city manages, not public or not private property. so these are the 7 elements that are required as part of the plan, or part of the planning effort. The first is pretty clear. Designate an ADA coordinator. As of right now, unless I'm mistaken, it's Gretchen, who is who acting as our ADA coordinator. Plank number 2. So planks 2, 3, and 4 are sort of like the meat and potatoes of the development of the plan. The first is an inventory of the barriers that exist, an inventory of the facilities that we have. So I'll go ahead and share sort of an informational sheet that I put together. This plan is focusing on, at this point, curb ramps and audible pedestrian signals, or APS. We've done a lot of work already on both issues. We have a large number of curb ramps around the city, and what we're in the process of doing right now is sort of refining our data to gain a better understanding of what we do have and the condition that it's in. Back in 2011, we concluded a citywide sort of survey and estimate to come up with the number of ramps that we know are out there, so about 12,000. We have been tracking over the last decade. These are the number of ramps that we have constructed in the right of way. So it varies depending on projects that we have going on and funding. As you know, funding is really tight, and installing these ramps is expensive. And we've only in the last couple of years, we've been kicked off sort of an inspection program to assess which ramps would be categorized as fully compliant under ADA standards and which ones are deficient. And this is where we are now, but we've only inspected about 360. So as you can tell from the fraction, it's the percentage is we have a long way to go on that. But hopefully, as new technologies arise and our capabilities to sort of go out and compile data and assess it and improve, we'll be able to do more of this in the future. And with audible pedestrian signals, we maintain just general pedestrian signals at 186 intersections throughout the city. 100 of them, which are mapped here, we have the GIS data for them, are currently equipped with audible pedestrian signals. The remaining 86 that are not, we're pretty sure most of those are downtown, where the signals are timed. We're in the process of gathering that data, mapping it, and sort of taking a look at where the gaps are. Going back to the planks, so that's sort of the first part of the developing the plan, plank 2. Plank 3 is, once we've conducted that inventory, developing a schedule for modifying the system to best meet the needs of our residents here in Salem. Plank 4 is sort of describing in detail how we're going to do that. What are the tools that we have? What are the tools that we've been using? We have many things like new development, redevelopment. We have city standards that developers have to meet. It's a really important tool that we employ, but it's not the only one. There are several. Part of our effort is sort of what we're doing today, public involvement. We wanted to put this committee together to help guide us through the planning process, but we also incorporated this conversation into the larger the recent bond issue conversation that's still going on. And we aim to have open houses. We have a website. We want to get your ideas. So we'll talk about that later about how to best conduct our outreach. Plank 6 is plank 6 and 7 we've already done, but that doesn't mean that they can't be improved if necessary. Again, this is in large part where you all come in. Plank 6, developing and posting an ADA policy statement. We have that. And plank 7, the implementation of a complaint request and grievance process for receiving and assessing and processing complaints that are related to ADA. All these elements we will have in our plan, and sort of how to approach sort of complying with each of these required elements within ADA. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and kind of hand it over to Rick. He's going to talk a little bit about what we've done as our past efforts.
Thank you, Anthony, very much. So again, my name is Rick Barnes, and my group deals with constructing a lot of the transportation projects in town. We're also part of part of the reasoning behind this is, as you can probably imagine, the city gets a lot of federal dollars every year for different projects and things, and the ADA requirements are all tied to those, but they're also part of just best practices for things. So the city for years has been very proactive with ADA improvements. Really going back to around 1985, we started installing sidewalk ramps specifically, basically, but in the late 80s, we installed about 500 ramps plus or minus in areas where there weren't any ramps. We completed our first ADA transition plan actually back in 1992. And at that time, the plan was, it was very, how do I want to word it? It involved about 12 to 15 3-ring binders with pictures of every location. It had kind of layout sheets of everything that was proposed to be installed. And it was really kind of a roadmap of here's what we have out there, kind of like that one plank that Anthony was talking about, and what do we need for compliance. So we started in around 1990 with dedicated improvement projects. We used community development block grant funds through our urban development department. And in the 90s, up until our last dedicated project that we had, we constructed over 2,100 sidewalk ramps around town. And it was a great project. I worked on a lot of those projects myself, as a matter of fact. Now that's not to say that was the last time we did sidewalk ramps. As Anthony said, we've done a lot of, basically all of our transportation projects now include ADA improvements, whether they be sidewalk ramps or sidewalk widths, all kinds of different things. And as he touched on, any new improvements are required to meet ADA requirements. But one of the challenges of being so proactive when we installed all those ramps in the 90s and early 2000s is that we were doing it kind of a little bit in advance of where the industry was at that time. So if you go around Salem right now and look at a lot of the sidewalk ramps, you're going to see some that are just literally just a ramp. They've just got some smooth finish sidewalk. There are some that have diamond pattern texture in it that we tried to do for detection with canes, to the ones you see now, which have the truncated domes in them for detectability at the bottoms of the ramps. There was also changes with the standards for landings behind the sidewalk ramps, the slopes that were coming up. And really the standards weren't completely adopted and or developed and adopted until around 2010. So we're kind of in that quandary of we did all this great work years ago, but of course, as the standards developed and everything kept going, there's a lot of our ramps that don't currently meet the existing standards of today. So some of them have the right slopes, but they don't have domes. Some of them have domes, but don't have the right landing areas. It's just a combination of things. So here we are today updating our transition plan to the second time, which is really to try and gather that information and doing it in a much more open way to be able to really kind of to identify where we're at and then continue to build ADA compliant projects in the future. So that's what I have for what we've done in the past. Any questions on that? All right, then I'll give it back to Anthony.
So that kind of brings us to what is the role of the advisory committee. And what we're looking for from you all is kind of two key factors. The first is to help us with outreach. You all have your constituents, your expertises in your areas, and we want the sort of guidance from you all to sort of help steer our effort. And as we plan our open houses and as we want to direct people to our website and to contact us with questions or comments, it would be great for you all to go back to your constituents, share what you're hearing here, and encourage folks to contact us and to take part in open houses or in going to our website and offering feedback. We're also looking for just general guidance, and that will sort of take place at these meetings, right? You can steer us a little bit, and also is required by ODOT. We already put together sort of a rough draft plan, and what I would like to do is share that plan with you all. And as we, yeah, I'm seeing that the interpreter does appear to be frozen. Yeah. Okay.
I'll let her fix it.
Okay. So what I would like to offer is for us to send you all the rough draft that we put together for ODOT as we sort of kick this process off. It'll give you a good sense of where we are and what we've put together, and we would like feedback on that. That can sort of help guide our conversation for our second meeting, which we have planned for sometime either July or August. So there's a lot in it. It's a lot to digest. We'll give you some time to read through it and share it with the people you all work with, and bring comments to us either at the meeting or before or both. And we would welcome that, and that would, I think, really help sort of kick off the conversation for the second meeting. But so as I'm talking about the future meetings, let me talk a little bit about the schedule to the next point in our. I'm going to share my schedule or share my screen one more time. Give me one moment. Okay, here we are. So what we're envisioning is we're here now, meeting one. We're thinking, so we have meeting 2, July and August. We can sort of go over, go over the plan, the rough draft, incorporate comments, changes, and sort of map out how we're going to sort of incorporate that conversation into the final draft. And then a final meeting in September or October to discuss the sort of updated draft that we've put together based on our conversations and the results of our public outreach, which we want to conduct a public outreach even beyond the horizon that depicted here. This is, November is right around the corner already. But this is going to be an ongoing effort that we're going to be revisiting every year, every couple of years to keep up to date. And we're going to want as much feedback from you all and from the general public and from the people that are most impacted by this plan as possible. So that's what we're thinking from a participation on your end and a sort of a schedule. So at this point, we can kind of open it up to discussion and questions. If I don't know if Trevor, if you want to steer it or how we can handle this portion.
Yeah, sure. If you have a question, this is Trevor Smith, Public Information Officer. If you have a question, feel free to use your digital raise hand or just unmute your mic. Oh, Tim?
All right, we did such a good job there. No questions. We covered all of it.
Looks like Tim's unmuted, so maybe he's got a question.
I don't have any question. I just wanted to say the timeline that you laid out seems reasonable. If it's reasonable to you, you guys are doing all the work.
Thanks. Yeah, it's and like I said earlier, a lot of this work, especially like on Rick's end, they've been doing this already for a while. And right now it's just a matter of, kind of synthesizing it and putting it all into one document that's, cogent and makes sense. So, yeah, so from a timeline perspective, this is what we talked about with ODOT. They're good with it. And it makes sense for what we're doing at this stage. But again, it's important to remember that we are, that this doesn't just conclude this year. This is sort of a kickoff of an ongoing effort and sort of like a reorganizing of our thoughts and our data and just sort of like routing a way to go forward.
The only other thing I would add is if you want us to do outreach to get feedback, any kind of electronic tools you can provide to make that easy and clear, we can post it on our Facebook and things like that.
Yeah, we can do that. So after this meeting, I will send the plan out to you all. That's a kind of a large document. Feel free to share it with whomever. But I can send the planks out, the timeline, and I think we sent you all the charter already for what we're looking. We can talk. We meet internally weekly on this, so we can talk about other materials that we either already have that we can send to you or that we can develop and put together to help you all in your outreach efforts.
Any other questions or comments?
And I'll add one thing. We've done all the talking here, and I get that we're sort of laying the groundwork. But yeah, I imagine, and our hope and anticipation is that in the next two meetings, it'll be sort of you all doing the talking, and to sort of share what conversations you've been having and how it's applicable within the context of the plan that we've been working on.
Would anybody from staff like to make any other comments? No. All right. Well, thank you all for coming. Be sure to watch your email for those documents that we are going to be forwarding to you. And we will schedule that July-August meeting here in the near future. and solidify some dates that work out well for everybody to attend that meeting. And we're excited to hear your thoughts on the program and what we can do to help in ways that we can address the issues. Thank you all for coming.
Thanks all.
This concludes the meeting of the ADA Transition Plan.